Hello, beautiful and amazing people. So let's talk about having to rock a zigzag trending frontal. You don't have to always rock this regular square pattern or triangular pattern. And here in this video, I'll be teaching you how to achieve a zigzag pattern for a frontal wig. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, please make sure you watch this video to the end. Let's get started. So making use of this A4 paper, and I've drafted out my pattern and I marked out 5 inches, and my measurement for my ear to ear is 11, and I'll be marking out 11 inches and taking the midpoint of 11, which is 5.5 inches, and out from the midpoint I'll be marking out 2 inches and also 2 inches on the other side. And doing that on the other side, I'll mark out 2 inches on one side and 2 inches on the other side. So I want a regular frontal airline pick. So I went ahead to draft my regular airline because I didn't want a straight airline for the knotless braid. And how wide did you want it? For me, I don't want it too wide or too small. So I took out about close to 1 inch, just a line away from the 1 inch. And I'll be doing that all through because that is the size I want. You can make yours 1 inch, 2 inches, based on what you want, the 1.5. So I have 5 marked out line. I'll go ahead and make use of the ruler to draw out the straight line. So I'll go ahead and draw out the straight line on every point I've marked out. Now going over to how wide I want it to be. So I also wanted both length and breadth to be the same thing. So I'll go over to mark what I've marked out. That is close to 1 inch. That is just one line away from an inch, from 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and mark it all through on that point. So I just went ahead to make use of ruler to make it easier and faster. I want to apply smart work. So I make use of the ruler. So I'll be doing that on all points. So here I'm done with everything I have marked out. Now I'll be going on to draw the zigzag pattern. So I'll go ahead and connect the line in a zigzag manner, making sure it is meeting that point which I have marked out on all the lines. So I'll go ahead and connect it down from the up to the down on all the points. You can watch just the way you draw your regular zigzag pattern. You draw that all through on the lines. And here is what I have achieved, and I'm done with that. So I'll be going over to placing this drafted pattern on the mannequin. I went ahead to make use of T-pin to first secure that and also secure the upper side. So I've also gone ahead to ventilate about 3 boxes before I did this. Before I started the filming. So I'll go ahead and place it well, following the pattern which I've drafted. Please make sure your paper is laying very flat and it is not giving bumps or rough. And also make sure your closure is also laying very flat, because if you don't do this, you're not going to achieve this well drafted pattern when you ventilate. So this is what it looks like. So I've actually gone ahead to also ventilate off camera, but now I'll be ventilating, showing you how I've done that. So now over to ventilating this side. I'll be taking one hole, skip the next, keep one line, ventilate on the other line. So this is for the side, the horizontal parts. I'm skipping one hole in between these two. I'll skip this line and ventilate on the other one, making sure there's one hole interval between the other ventilated one. So going on to the part which I've marked the zigzag, I'll also be skipping one hole, ventilating the next. You're going to be ventilating this in a way such as you're trying to climb a staircase. Now I'll be going in a diagonal pattern. So I'll be following that part which I have drafted up. Skip one hole, ventilate the next. I'll take 2 to 3 strands of hair and I'll skip that line, ventilate the other one. Take my 2 to 3 strands of hair. At this point, I'm taking 2 strands of hair. But make sure whatever you're taking for the front is in between 2 to 3 strands of hair. I can always emphasize the consistency in the number of strands, as this helps you to achieve a very beautiful and realistic knots or ventilation. When you tend to take excessive hair, such as 5 strands of hair, 6 strands of hair, it gives it this large knot and it doesn't make it look realistic. So I make sure I ensure consistency. Now I'll be skipping that line, ventilating on the next hole, taking 2 strands of hair and knot it. And make sure you use your hand to knot it well, so it doesn't tend to lose, because it doesn't tend to pull off because you're making use of a single knot. So I'll ventilate 2 strands of hair, use my hand to pull, So I'll keep doing this same pattern. Ventilate one, will skip the next, skip one line, ventilate on the other line till I get to the end, which I have drafted out. And this is what it looks like after I've done that. So I'll go ahead and continue ventilating the horizontal part, and in between this one box and the other one is one hole that separates them. Just one hole from one box to the next one. So I'm separating them with just a line and one hole. Help you understand what I'm saying. And also be making a video which shows you, I'll be asking some questions which have been asked about ventilation, and I'll also be telling you so many tips you need to know as to why your ventilation is not looking realistic and like a pro. So I'm done with that horizontal line. I'll also go ahead to do the same pattern which I had followed on the other zigzag side, that is on the right hand side. I'll be doing the same thing on this left hand side, making sure I'm still going with 2 strands of hair. Ventilate one hole, skip the next, skip one line, ventilate on the other line. So I've gone ahead of camera to finish that, as you can see. I also made use of this pin to hold it down so that the net doesn't lift while I'm trying to ventilate. So I'll also be ventilating this horizontal part the same way. So I've brought the camera closer so you can see what I'm saying. I'm skipping that line and ventilating on the other line, that is the hole on the other line. So I am done with this, trying to ventilate out the box and the zigzag box pattern, and this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and ventilate on this. I had to fill the next line. Now for the next line, I'll be ventilating in between those 2 lines, leaving one hole. So I'll take 3 strands of hair here. I'll ventilate it. So I'm ventilating in between these 2 holes I've ventilated. For the box, I'm doing the in-between ventilation. Between the next ventilated one and the other one on the same line, I'm skipping one hole, ventilate the next, that is skipping one line. But I'm doing in-between methods. I don't want to ventilate on a straight line. I just want to try this. I love the in-between method because it doesn't look straight. When you come closer to the person wearing a wig, you don't see it growing in a straight line because the hair doesn't really grow in a straight line. So I've ventilated the second row. I'm going to the third row. So for me, I want to ventilate 4 lines. For you, you can decide to ventilate all the lines. But for me, I want to go with 4 lines. You can decide to ventilate all the boxes, or you can decide to ventilate 3. But I decided to ventilate 4 lines because I wanted to have this fuller look. So when I change to braid, I don't want to see holes or gaps reflecting that point is not ventilated. So I'm done ventilating the 4 lines, and you can see what it's looking like. My knots are tiny. I ensured consistency when trying to ventilate or knot it. So I'm done with that. I'll be doing the same thing here, ventilating in between method. So I'll ventilate one hole, skip the next, also skipping one line. So I'll be following the same zigzag pattern which I've followed on the side. So between the ventilated one and this I'm just ventilated is one line, and between the 2 knots on the same line is just one hole. So I'll go ahead and ventilate 4 lines on this side. So around the box, I'll be ventilating 4 lines. Like I said, you could ventilate 3 lines. So I advise you ventilate maximum of 3. Please don't ventilate 2 lines. Even if you get tired, please ventilate maximum of 3 lines, because when you ventilate 2 lines, it tends to be scanty. I also have a video of how I made use of the straight line. I'll be dropping the link to that video in the description box below. But here in this video, I'm using the in-between method, so you can go watch that out and compare the results. So right here, I'll be doing the same thing, ventilating one hole, skipping the next, still ventilating in between those lines I've ventilated. So I'll also go ahead and also ventilate 4 lines. So I'll be doing it round to make the box. So now I'm done with the other side. With this upper part, I've ventilated 4 lines, and you can see it's either looking realistic. It's looking like it's growing from his cap. And I made use of this paper so I can increase the visualization. So that I could see the holes very clearly. So now I'm done with everything, ventilating all the boxes, all the 4 boxes, and this is what it looks like. You can see it's looking so realistic, and the knots are so tiny. You could also make a realistic braid yourself, even while making use of attachment. The number of strands you use in ventilating is what really matters. So now between these two, I'll also be skipping one line. I'll be in between these two boxes is going to be one line. Still the same pattern, going following the zigzag pattern, while leaving one line in between them. So I'll go ahead and follow that pattern, and I'll also be ventilating 4 lines. So till the end, I'll be making use of 4 lines all around. So I'll continue ventilating the hair like I'm going in steps. So I'm almost done. I'm trying to fill in the last line and still going on, ensuring consistency in the number of strands, where I'm going with about 3 strands of hair. And now I'm done with that, and you can see what it's looking like. You can see there's little or no difference within the first box I've insulated and this. You can see the knots are looking so tiny. Please ensure consistency. You know how much I emphasize on the number of strands of hair. So I'll go ahead to, this is what it looks like. The results of what a ventilator looks like. You can see the knots are tiny all around. So I'll also go ahead and ventilate the rest off camera. So I'll go ahead and ventilate the next line off camera. And this is the result of what it looks like after I'm done ventilating. You can see it's coming out pretty well, and I hope you are loving this, because I am loving this. So I'll also be dropping a video on how I make the knotless braid using this closure, and this is a 11x5 closure, and this is what it looks like when I took it off the cap and off the paper. Thank you guys for watching this video to the end. You are the realest. Love you all. Please don't forget to like, to share, and comment on my video. Love you all.